Okay.
I have never told that story to anyone before on the air.
Well, thank you.
So honored.
Yes.
Oh boy, yeah, the fun stuff.
It's been a while since we have crossed paths, but we are rejoining once again tonight. He is the one and only David Sobolov.
Hello.
Golf class. What's up, David?
Hey, good to see you.
It is so good. It's been too long. It's been too long.
It has. It has. We must arrange to go to a con together sometime.
Let's make it. There it is. We put it out there in the universe.
Let's have my schedule call your schedule.
Okay.
We'll make it work.
We were talking before we started that is the last time we saw each other was at Animate in Florida. It was in 2016, David.
That long ago? Well, we should see each other at least once every 10 years, right?
Yes, I think I think that can be arranged. We can make that happen. And it was such a fun panel too. I think we sang some karaoke, right? Is that
we sang? I remember singing. I just remember your questions were great and we just had fun. And the funny thing, I don't know why, it was the wrong convention for me. It was like an anime convention. I hadn't done much anime at that point for a while. And nobody showed up to the panel, but we still had a good time.
It doesn't matter. We had fun. So and whoever was there in the audience had fun too. So, fun was had by all. But one of the things that I did pull from with our last panel together was you mentioned, and I don't know whether this is a joke or not, or maybe it's the truth. We're about to find out. You mentioned that you always ask for a claymation episode. So is this something that you really do? And has it happened?
I do, and it hasn't happened. It's far too expensive. They're never going to indulge me with that. But I am now producing my own show. So if I can get enough money, I'd love to put a claymation episode in there. We'll see.
There you go.
Yeah.
If they won't do it, you do it yourself.
Sure, why not? I got a couple 100,000 sitting around. No problem. Yeah, no, I don't.
Just laying around.
Laying around.
Is there like a claymation show, film, something that inspires you to enjoy claymation?
It's funny. Many, many, many years ago, there was a Lucille Ball show called The Lucy Show. And I think it was like a claymation opening that they had. Oh. And it was entertaining. The thing I like about claymation, it's entertaining but creepy at the same time. Mm. And I like the combination when you're entertained by something that's humorously creepy. So that definitely was, because it crosses the, what's it called? Crossing the uncanny valley. But it's just a little too real, but it's not real.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think we need I feel the big one, obviously Nightmare Before Christmas, and then we have Wallace and Gromit. But David, I think it's your calling to bring back the claymation. So
the creepiest situation ever captured on film, I think, for the Uncanny Valley is Polar Express.
Ooh, yeah, I would agree with that. I've seen it one time, and that was more than enough.
Because it's just this side of real. It's like, why don't you just shoot it?
Yeah.
With people. I heard that they did. Maybe I'm wrong. I heard they did shoot it with people and then animated over it. Use that as a guide.
Because they did just have money laying around, apparently. So
Tom Hanks, I'm sure he's got some people interested in funding his projects.
Yeah. That guy can act. Yeah.
He's good.
He's doing okay. Doing okay for himself.
He ain't no slouch, as they used to say.
Amen.
Well, we actually wanted to ask a little bit about this, what we've come across as your history in theater.
That's a long time
yes,
ago.
in the theater.
The theater.
So we came across something that I would love to pick your brain a little bit about, which is studying with Sandy Meisner, because that's super cool.
That actually happened. Yeah, I was 19 in New York City, and there he was. He was still there.
That's nuts.
Yep. And he had a lot of knowledge to impart that I still use today, but he was very old school. For instance, if he wanted to kind of let you know that you didn't have to say the line the same way, he'd say the line is, "I got to go to the store," and then he'd take the hair on your arm and pull it, like hurt you, and say the line, say the text, or touch your face intimately and then say the text. Nothing you could ever do today in class, ever, or slap you in the face and say the text.
Fair.
like that.
I mean,
Stuff like that. Yeah.
That leads to the question: why did you choose Meisner over something like Adler or Strasbourg or anything else?
Strasbourg, not Strasbourg is delicious with lettuce and tomato and accoutrement. No, Strasbourg. I was led there. I met an actor who recommended it. I was living in Vancouver, Canada, going to music school. I wanted to get into acting. I had an opportunity to interview. I got to go to New York and interview there, and they didn't audition people. They interviewed you. If they wanted you, they just let you go. You know how much it costs back then?
Oh my God, how much?
Imagine like what a school like what's studying with somebody legendary like Sanford Meisner would cost today. What would that be, like 80 grand a year or more?
Oh, easily.
Yeah,
easily.
priceless almost.
It was $400 a month for 5 days a week.
Wow,
6 hours a day. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that
was another time.
It
was 1984. It was a long time ago. It was another lifetime.
Oh man, that's wild. But like actually getting to work with Meisner himself is, I don't think I've ever spoken with another actor that ever had one-on-one experience with him. But
there aren't that many left. There aren't that many left that are working.
That's true. Yeah,
I worked with him. I was like 19 or 20 years old, and I'm 57 now. So if anybody was even much older, a lot of people retire, say in their late 60s. So there's only a few of us left, I think.
Wow. Yes, it's wild.
So of course that again also leads to the question of what about this method, because you said you've taken some of these lessons with you. What specifically would you say you've been able to utilize with voice acting?
Well, it's very useful with voice acting because a lot of people come to voice acting thinking it's all about doing a funny voice, and it's so much more than that.
It's acting first.
Yeah, yes. One thing he said was acting is living truthfully under given imaginary circumstances. Mm-hmm. And I say you got to live truthfully under those incredibly, like they're very imaginary. They're the most imaginary you could ever think of. But I have to believe you. I have to buy it. If somebody's in a scene in a snowstorm, I have to believe they're in a snowstorm. Or if somebody's just lost their best friend in a video game, I have to believe that they just lost their best friend. Or, for instance, this week I worked on a movie that's got an NDA. I can't talk about it, but it was me with a live actor, and I'm the voice of something in the scene. And it had to play like we were in the room together. You can't do that with a funny voice. You have to actually be like pretending that you're seeing the person and talking to them. And that's a lot of Meisner Technique helps with that.
Is it like similar? Well, obviously you signed an NDA. Is it like a similar thing to like the Gorilla Grodd situation where live actor character?
Yeah, something like that. A lot of I do a lot of movies now, and a lot of them are like that. That like I did with Bumblebee, although that was like funny. It was like two CGI characters fighting, but in a real, like a real background. There's like no real people around us, but there was like a real hillside that they filmed and put us in.
Man, they've done such a phenomenal job with anything Transformer related, and I'm so happy that it's still going. And I feel like Transformers is going to live on forever. It will keep transforming itself,
It will. I think, well, the thing is, let's be brutally honest here. If something makes money, they keep making it.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
If there's fans that want to see it, they'll keep making it. Spider-Man, how long has he been going on? 70 years, 80 years?
Swinging away. Yeah.
It never ends.
Never ends. So now I believe, and we talked about this before the stream as well, you also have been teaching classes, and I think that's one of the wonderful things that's kind of been able to pivot during the craziness of the past couple of years is the ability to connect with people all over virtually. So what can you tell us about teaching, and is this something that you apply with Meisner, or is this your own techniques?
I combine my own techniques with Meisner, and I don't really get strict about it. I want to hear what the actor has to give, in a sense, where they're at. So many people have different aspects that they're more advanced with because their experience in acting is all over the place, and maybe they've done a lot of voice acting or no voice acting. Maybe they've just done anime and they approach it a little bit differently. And I just hear what I have in front of me, and I just tell them what I believe. Like, did I believe that? No. Why? And it's like, what Maslow's hierarchy of needs is?
Nope.
That is like the concept of, if I can't breathe, I don't care about water, do I? If I don't have water, I don't care about food. If I don't have food, I don't care about shelter. That kind of goes up all the way to love. And you kind of have to have a lot going on before you can really truly love, someone else, I think. And with this, I apply that to acting. It's kind of got a Meisner bent to it too, where if you aren't telling the story at all, if you don't understand the words on the page, well, that's the thing you start with. Maybe there's some foreign alien word from another planet that you haven't really sounded out. Maybe there's a place name you don't know, or a reference that you haven't looked at, so that it doesn't really make sense. So you make sense of it, and then basics like, is he supposed to be happy? Is he supposed to be sad? Okay, well, who's he talking to? Why did he start the scene? All these different elements that you do, I consider it a live action thing. Even though it's voice, treat it like a live action performance, and you'll be much better off.
I love that.
Really good advice. That's great.
Yes. No, it is. And I think I also wanted to mention is I feel like these really good teachers have very strong last names. And I think the Sobolov method, I think it's sound. I'm in.
Got a nice ring to it.
It has a great ring
I call my group class the art of the bookable read. Because I am dealing. I want to get you guys, anybody that studies with me, I want to get them ready to hopefully make a living at this. I mean, sure, the art is wonderful. There's actual considerations in terms of making a living that you have to think about. What network is carrying your show? What streamer is carrying your show? You sometimes have to think about that, and it affects the acting a little bit. If I'm doing a villain for a 4-year-old audience, it's a very different villain than for an adult.
That's incredibly fair. Yeah. And the other thing that I like, so a couple weeks ago we had Chris T on, and I did send you the clip because he was
very generous with his comments. That was very kind of him.
But I love the fact that actors who are still actively working are willing to still learn and wanting to still learn. Whereas a lot of times, there's actors that are like, I'm already doing the thing. What more could I possibly know? Life is always a lesson, there's always more that can be applied and help.
Wouldn't life be incredibly boring if you stopped learning stuff?
Right.
I'm going to learn stuff when I'm 90. I want to hopefully live a long life and keep learning. Probably learn something on my last day that I didn't realize. Well, I'll learn what dying's like, won't I? Last day. May not remember it, but I'll learn.
Fair enough.
That is a good thought.
So, David, growing up, what were some of your biggest fandoms? And obviously now, once again, you're incredibly prolific. You've worked with so many different fandoms. Have you been able to be part of any of the fandoms that you grew up being a fan of?
I always loved Star Trek, and I still love Star Trek, and I get to work with Star Trek properties sometimes, which is exciting. I just worked on what's that new show called? Star Trek Voyager, right? What's the new one? I'm horrible. There's so many different names.
Something about Voyager.
I'm so sorry, I can't remember. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. Did that last year, and just debuted this year. But yeah, Star Trek when I was a kid. Because you know what, Star Trek, I felt like it told it like it was. It was just dealing with like real people and real problems, and the problems people have relating to each other, and they just couched it in a way that was acceptable for the times. So it was almost like dealt with it was almost thought of like a cartoon, so they could get away with stuff. You heard the story of is her name Michelle Norris?
Nichelle, yeah.
Michelle, who did Uhura. You know that old story.
Nichelle Nichols, yes.
Nichols, I'm sorry.
Yes.
You know the story she's told about meeting Martin Luther King. You heard that story? She was going to quit the show, and he goes, no, you can't. There have not been women in important positions, portrayed in important positions of color, and you need to stay on that show. And he convinced her to stay.
That's awesome. And I'm glad she did, because icon.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
She literally made history.
Yeah.
You started that question with something I think I've drifted away from.
Just your fandoms growing up, and if you
my fandoms growing up. Bugs Bunny. I love all that old Warner Brothers stuff. I love old things. I mean, I always have like old product packages there, what I collect. So I've got my whole place is full of like 1880s to 1940s stuff.
Cool.
You know what I have here? Let's see if I can reach and get it. Let me get something here.
Okie dokie.
This is fun. This is from the. Do you know who Rose Marie was?
Which run?
Rose Marie. She was on the Dick Van Dyke Show many years ago.
Aw, love.
Well, I got to go to her estate sale, I should say, when she died. And this is from when they launched the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Oh my God.
From 1962 or something like that.
Wow.
And then it's it's got the CBS logo on the back. It was a probably book of matches. I like stuff like that. Old showbiz stuff. What else? I got some. This is funny. This is a weird, obscure thing. This, I don't know if you can see it. It'll probably the type comes in backwards, doesn't it?
No, it's flipped.
It's just.
Oh no, it says Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis show.
That's from like 1956 from NBC. Just stuff like that.
So cool.
And then do you see the Raisin Bran? Is that in the picture, the little Raisin Bran?
Now a little, yeah.
Yeah, like I've got tons of cereal boxes. So anyway, that's kind of stuff I like. So watching the old Bugs Bunnies, there were a lot of old ones from the 30s and 40s. And I'm not quite that old, so they were pretty old when I saw them, and I just loved them.
Man, Mel Blanc, I'm sure I would love to have picked his brain too. I can't even imagine what talking to him would have been like.
Have you talked to Bob Bergen at all?
Mm-mm.
He's the only one I know who's met him.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, yeah. That would have been, yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, yeah. Did you ever listen to, I'm horrible with names today, Gilbert Gottfried's podcast?
I've heard like a couple episodes, and I can't say I was a devout listener, but I should be.
It's great Hollywood history. Him and Frank Santopadre, they would go out and try to find the oldest stars they could find that were still alive, who could still hold a conversation and find out something about their lives. Like they were like the last show that had a lot of old Hollywood people on it.
Who did he have? Do you remember anyone offhand?
I'm just remembering like old comics. Like who's that guy? I think he had this guy on. The guy that was on Shameless, who lived in the top of the bar for a while. The old man. He was a famous comic.
Yep. Hold on.
He was a really famous comic in the 1950s, and I think he got him and people from TV in the 70s. You know who I work with? Do you know who Marion Ross is?
I know that name. Why do I know that name?
I'm stumping you guys like crazy today with the old time showbiz.
I'm actually horrible with names. I know faces.
I know. I just embarrassed myself on a live show not knowing anybody's name. But she was on Happy Days, the old Happy Days show. She was the mom.
Okay.
She was the mom, and I'm like, can you imagine this is how the dreams come true, right? I grew up in a little town called Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Not that little, maybe 200,000 people near Detroit. And when I'm 12, 13 years old watching Happy Days, in my wildest dreams, did I think I'd end up in Hollywood working with her? No way. I never thought in a billion years I would ever end up here doing what I'm doing. So there she walks in. She played a villain. She stood right next to me. We got to chat for a couple hours. And that was kind of cool for me.
What project was that?
On Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's wonderful. That's so cool. What an all-star cast. I mean, I got to meet Will Friedle a couple months ago, and gosh, he's incredible as well.
He's one of the sweetest guys, and he's just like down to earth. He doesn't have an arrogant bone in his body. He's just confident, and he's really so talented. I really admire him. I'm really glad I know him.
Likewise.
Good guy.
Well, I wanted to mention what you mentioned right before we started the show. So can you clue us in at all about this new project you've started working on?
Yeah, it was a pandemic project. I've spent the last 2 years co-writing, producing, creating a show called Captain Fingers.
It's such a good name already. It's going to be good.
It will be, and I'm not sure if the cast that I work with will continue on if we sell this, but I hope they will. And I hope they don't mind me saying their names, but Pamela Adlon is in it. Will is in it. Will Friedle has got a great part in it. Yuri Lowenthal's in it. Vanessa Marshall is in it. Her mother, Joan Van Ark, is in it. She was in a lot of nighttime soap operas in the 70s. Patrick Warburton is in it.
Love.
He's fantastic. And his son, Talon Warburton. So we got mother, daughter, father, son combos in there.
That's cool.
I think I named everybody, and me, and I'm playing a superhero who is not really so super. And it's about a time, I don't want to say too much, but it's about a time 300 years in the future in America.
Okay. Fair enough.
I don't want to say too much quite yet, but we're going to get out there soon. I think today is our last edit day.
Oh.
And it'll be ready. We have an animatic, sort of a presentation of what the cartoon would look like, and around 11 minutes long. And then we get it out to networks and people at studios, and hopefully we'll get it produced.
You will. Congratulations. Yeah. That's
Thank
amazing.
You.
Captain Fingers.
Captain Fingers, everybody.
I'm already hooked.
If you see Captain Fingers, and that's...
You heard it here
now my fingers all over it.
Oh, I love that. Well, ironically, today happens to be National Superhero Day. Wow. It was just cued in right before the stream started. Do you have a favorite superhero or a superhero ability that you would like to possess?
Flying, for sure. That would be fun. And favorite superhero, he isn't really a superhero. He's Batman. He's not really a superhero, but he's in that realm.
David,
that is the debate.
That is the great debate. I think it's come up on here like one or two times. But...
You know who the most unsuperhero, supervillain, you know who was the unvillainous, unsuper villain there is in the DC universe? See if you can name this person. This is a villain who has a bogus ability, and you could take the ability away from him in 2 seconds. There should not be a villain, not be a super villain. He has an association with Arrowverse.
Okay. Lex, I don't know.
If I said I was getting warmer, I'll give you a hint. If I said I was getting warmer, that would be the opposite of who he is.
Okay, so he's cold.
Mr. Freeze. Wait.
No, he's pretty... Captain Cold. Captain Cold, I think that's what they call him.
Captain Cold.
He just has a freeze ray.
Oh.
Which if Batman kicked out of his hand, he'd just be this guy.
Yeah, he's just a dude.
Then he's just Dr. Horrible.
He's like, what was that show? Was one of the first internet musicals? Yes, that one.
Yeah, Dr. Horrible
sing-along blog.
Yeah.
I love that.
So do we.
I wanted to see more of it, and it just didn't ever happen again.
Full sweater vest. Oh yeah, we love it. That's.
I do love it.
Oh man. Okay, so
I was still really bummed to find out that the university I work at had actually already done that show before I got here, so I can't do it again.
Oh, they let them do it live?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's funny.
You can license it.
Oh, but the moist guy must have gone through a really hard time for the stage version. They would have had put Vaseline all over him or something, or just douse him with water every time he entered the
stage. That has to be the worst ability, just like having clammy hands.
Well, also, okay, my show has a lot of weird abilities, but they actually can make them like useful to do something. What is that? Being clammy? How does that get you ahead in life? Or in your show as a character,
make things slippery.
I guess that's a good thing. You can make something.
You can destroy a lot of valuable letters.
Letters from the horse guy, yeah.
Yeah,
right, the bad horse.
The bad horse.
Yes. I was going to say if we had about
something. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say if Danica and I had about an hour, we could perform all of the parts.
We could do the whole thing for you right now.
We could, yes, do both acts, start to next stream. Next stream.
Well, while you guys are talking to me, get that Bad Horse song on in front of you on a screen, and we'll sing it together because I love that song.
Yep, absolutely. Okay.
If the lyrics are posted somewhere.
Oh,
is it called like Ballad of Bad Horse or something? What's it called?
Bad Horse is all I have. Danica, can you really quickly copy paste the lyrics into the private chat?
I can sure try.
Because I think I have the Bad Horse thing. I just want to make sure that it's the right one. Because there are multiple phone calls. I think this is the first one.
That's true.
But I think we could do the first one. And I have an ad.
Because we have to carry on a tradition of singing something.
Yes, that we do. Did you post them?
I'm working on it.
Okay, so David, do you see the private chat that's in our stream?
I do. Well, I'm pressing the private button. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, I don't disappear.
Oh,
am I still there?
Nope, you disappeared.
Okay. I'll go back up here.
We need you back.
Hello.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so if we can't see the private chat.
The last yeah. Okay. Womp.
We might just have to.
Doesn't matter, no big deal.
Okay, we ready? I hope this is right. Here we go.
Oh wait, I don't have
No!
I don't have it. I've got I can play the video, but I don't have the words.
What about if we text him to you? Oh, wait.
Sure. It's
our producer is saying, give me a second, and I guess he's going to put the words up on the screen. So
okay. We can
in
do
the
a karaoke
meantime,
version.
yes, that we shall. We will karaoke the Bad Horse song. Let me find another version because this one cuts off at the beginning. Guys, this is a live show. This is what we do. Yeah, I think this one's going to be a little bit better. Let's see.
The reason
not any better.
The reason Kid Cadet is so good at what she does is because she does not worry. She does a lot of research and stuff. You just have a chat. That's the secret, kids. You just have a chat and have fun.
No, but Danica and I do our I was going to say but we do our fair share of research.
You do your due diligence.
Yes. But also you have to know that things can go any which way, and they always do.
It's fine. It's
yes.
fine. It's like on stage, you drop a pencil, you pick it up.
Yep. Oh, and there it goes. Just don't drop the Jerry Lee Lewis pencil. Or Jerry Lewis, not Jerry Lee Lewis. That's the guy.
Okay, while you're let me another show and tell here.
Okay, go ahead.
This is from the very first personal computer in 1981.
Oh, whoa.
Charlie Chaplin?
Yep, he was the one that advertised it. Well, that character anyway. And Little you know Tramp? How it worked? Yeah, the first personal computer, it had no hard drive. It had 2 floppy drives, and you'd hear and then you get to add 4 numbers together.
Well, I now think that you need to book the part of a personal computer drive.
From 1981. The floppy drives of 1981.
I don't know what project you could use it for, but maybe Captain Fingers has a let's see. Okay, hold on. Jude's I'm seeing it happening. I'm watching the behind the scenes. I see the words. Oh, that's kind of small. Can you make them a little bit bigger?
Hey, I'll read them.
It also does not have the last line, but that's okay.
It's fine.
The last line is, it's hi-ho silver.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, let's go from He Rides Across the Nation. Ready?
Okay, I hope so. It starts like 1 second late, so I'm just letting you guys know.
That horse, that horse.
All right, here we go.
You got the application that you just sent in. It's an evaluation.
So let the games begin. Heinous crime show, of course. This is all over the place.
Crash and burn live.
It's okay.
Crash and burn live.
It's fine. But that was great.
People will make you his mare.
He'll make you his mare.
Saddled up. There's no recourse. It's
hi-ho silver. Signed that horse.
Ta-da! We got there. Okay. Yeah, we didn't take into consideration the delay.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Delay, and also we'll rehearse next time.
Just pretend like that was Academy Award winning. You guys are very welcome for that. Yes. All right. So let's see, Danica, where did we? Okay. Oh, okay. So we wanted to know. You asked, Danica. You asked.
Oh, sure.
Ask. Okay.
Well, we love asking this of all voice actors because if we could, we would. So have you ever used your fabulous voice for personal benefit? Things like, calling in to say that your son David is sick, or like the talk boy thing in Home Alone.
Personal benefit? Well, for a while I tried to use it to help women who were being abused by their spouses. I would go on, I would do a little service where I would record their outgoing message and scare someone that was harassing.
That's amazing.
Yes.
How did that start?
I just started doing it for a couple of people in Vancouver, and it didn't spread like crazy or anything, but I did it for a few people, and it actually helped them because they thought, there was somebody else living there that had a really big, deep voice, and that kept them away.
Good.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
That's a very wow, because I think a lot of time people just assume violence is the only answer, but that you probably helped a lot. Wow. Okay, fair enough. That is not an answer.
There's a lot of psychology involved in life, and if you can psych somebody out, much better than being beaten up by them.
Amen. Appreciate that. So another thing that we wanted to ask, and I think you kind of briefly mentioned it before when you were talking about Star Trek, but you've had to speak multiple languages, obviously, for a couple of your roles, whether it's German and Call of Duty and Klingon and Star Trek. How do you go about learning? Well, obviously German. They're both real languages. I don't want to discredit Klingon. It is a very real language. People know it and speak it. How difficult is it, one, to have to learn your lines, but then also learn them in a different language?
Well, for Call of Duty, when I'm told on a Friday afternoon, you've got 5 pages in German on Monday, David, good luck, and they hang up. I brought in a teacher on Saturday, and I could never really learn what it was. I could just learn how to say it. Well, I did very well, apparently. The person from Activision that was German that was there making sure I said everything correctly was happy. But my teacher said he fell off his chair laughing when he heard it because there's one little aspect of it we forgot to look over. I sound like an American speaking German. So somebody from Germany speaking German would never sound like that. And the Klingon thing, they brought in the fellow, help me with his name too, Ken Okrand. I'm so sorry. The fellow who created the Klingon language.
The wrong person.
I don't have it in front of me. He was a really nice person. And they brought him in to coach us. And it was me and Fred Tatasciore. So first they gave us a reference tape and we rehearsed as much at home as we could. But he was like a baseball coach. He sat right beside us in the booth, which never happens. Usually everybody's behind the glass or remote. But there he was, and he was cheering me on, making sure like, this isn't real Klingon, but if it was like, Ukak, it's supposed to be Ukak, people would write in. You can't have Star Trek Into Darkness, the movie, with the wrong Klingon on it. So I believe what ended up happening at the end, Fred Tatasciore and I recorded all of our lines, these exact same lines. I think they used Fred for the voice in the ship, if anyone's seen the movie, going down to the planet, and I was most of the voices on the planet.
Good Lord.
Yeah. It's fun. It's super fun. And it's sort of, once I was getting into it a bit and talking to the fellow, it's got some Yiddish in there. That was part of it. Yeah. He told me, I don't know if you guys know the story, but there was one of the Star Trek movies, and the fellow that played, was the guy in the engine room? That guy, Scotty? Yeah.
That name we know.
Yeah, well, there had been somebody doing Klingon for ages, but always in English. That was the first time they decided to have a language, and the actor wasn't even told what to do. He could do anything he wanted, and he was kind of struggling with it. So the other actor, James, I know his first name was James, he wrote something down on a piece of paper and just said, read this, kid. And when they developed the Klingon language, that was canon. That was said in a movie. They had to take that little few sentences that were said and make the entire language blossom out of that.
Wow.
People that create languages, I can't even, the person that came up with
mind-blowing
Dothraki or what do they speak in
Lord of the Rings? Elvish, or any of the 15 languages that are in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I got another story. Halo 4, we played this character called Jewel Madama. We went in there and we were just improvising it. Whatever we did, we just had to have some keywords that were plot words. And then about 4 sessions in, the lawyers started hearing what we were doing and said, no, that could be something offensive in some language that you're not even aware of. And they didn't want to have to take the time to check. So we started again, and they must have done it quickly because they created a language that was kind of like Japanese. But it was so difficult that it took 10 minutes per line to record. Now that's incredibly long in voice acting world. So gave us lots of session fees because it took forever.
God.
That's what I was going to say. That must have been quite a few sessions. Like in a typical, let's say, native English speaking session, how many pages can you typically get through in a regular session?
If it's a video game, the sessions are limited to 4 hours because there actually is one contract, the film contract. The theatrical contract, you still go 8 hours, and that really should be changed because your voice is gone by then. But yeah, 4 hours maximum, and video game, maybe 250 lines, something like that, 300 lines. My world's record was something like 640 lines.
Wow.
And that was a deal. That was a deal where, well, it just felt like a speed dating session at the time or something. But they they had a screen, and we worked out the character, and then the director didn't say a word. There was no way we were going to get through it otherwise. He had the cursor, going, so the flashing thing, and if he liked it, he kept going down the page.
God,
cool.
And I just kept going. I took a couple breaks, but I managed to get through it. One take only. Unless you really hated it, then he would make me do two.
Oh my God.
You and Frank Sinatra, one take wonders.
I've learned over the years. It takes a while, but the nice thing is you can Frankenstein. You know what Frankensteining is in the voice acting business?
Mm-hmm. Take a little here, take a little there.
Yeah, take a little here, take a little there. And I've seen them do that to the top pros. There's no shame in it. I say that to the students. Like, if you need to piece things together, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, there's a lot of Frankenstein that goes on. Yeah, just do that.
Same with music too. Like, you can record, you could be like, okay, I like the way that you said, or you sang these 3 words, but it happens all the time. So yeah, ain't no shame.
The magic of digital tape.
Ta-da!
There's unlimited digital tape.
Danica, why don't you ask one more question, then we'll go into the game.
All right.
Sure. I can read. Okay. So having that you were part of the documentary, The Legend of King Kong, which, by the way, please check it out. Did you become more of a fan of King Kong through playing Gorilla Grodd, or was that already kind of living in the realm of fandom?
I really tried to differentiate it, because he's not King Kong, and would compare him. But you know what? The show even did this little thing. I don't know if people remember this, but there was a scene that we did in one of the seasons where Grodd climbed a tower to get Caitlin and trap Caitlin. It was very much like King Kong. They probably did that as
an homage.
Yeah, it was probably an homage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, where did your love for King Kong come from? Was this something that you grew up with, or?
Well, I mean, they interviewed me for that. I wouldn't say I'm like it's my favorite thing in the world. I don't dislike it or like it. It's just it's there, and it's tangential because tangential. What's the word?
Tangential.
That's the wrong tangential. Yeah, to Grodd, because it's not. He's a gorilla, I guess. So there's his brother.
Yeah,
I feel like they would be friends. Like
gross.
Yeah, they might be friends. I think though the high intelligence of Grodd would make it difficult for him to be friends with a lot of people.
Good point. But I feel like King Kong's intelligence is sometimes maybe underplayed too.
Perhaps,
but you're
yes.
right. Grodd is on another level. But okay, so we have a game for you. This is a game of Would You Rather. And I think my husband has graphics. We're trying to pull them up, but his computer's glitching out a little bit. So in the meantime, we will just ask the questions without the graphics. If we get them, we'll bring them up. If not, then we won't. Here we go.
Until that happens, enjoy our rendition of Dr. Horrible Sing-Along.
Yeah, right. Here we go. Okay, so the first one, David, would you rather live in the Arrowverse or live in the Star Wars universe?
Star Wars.
Good choice. And any particular reason why?
It's at peace for the most. I mean, there's wars and stuff, but I mean, it's just a lot more organized, just a lot more kind. I think, and there's not a lot of people coming who have vendettas to kill you kind of thing. It's just more mellow.
Okay. Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah.
And you can like get your food just to magically appear in front of you, and you could play on holodecks, and there's lots going on. It's fun there.
Wouldn't that be so lovely? Oh, what a life. All right.
Who would you rather have? I'm going to change this one just a little bit. Have the soundtrack for your life written by John Williams or Stephen Sondheim?
Oh boy, they're both good. I think John Williams, because it's more cinematic, it's more sweeping, over the course of a life. I love Sondheim, but it's often kind of angsty.
No way. I'm directing Assassins starting on Sunday.
The Gun Song. I love that song. Yeah, that's a great show that is really underrated. I don't think a lot of people watched it at the time when it first came up.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It was a very sad day when he died recently. But when you get quite old, you can't get too sad because people had a nice long life. And,
that's true.
Do you know? I have a tape somewhere that I would love to find. I might find it. Did you know that the original lyrics of West Side Story were not written by Sondheim?
Are they
the very early incantations before the show gelled? Bernstein attempted to write lyrics himself.
Bernstein? Yeah.
And in Boston, they recorded them, and they're horrible.
Oh, no.
Lenny.
I have to say, I am a fan of listening to like the evolution of a show. Like I recently went and listened to the original lyrics for Beetlejuice, which is now on Broadway, because I'm too obsessed with it. I need to stop. But I went.
See it.
I know I have to see it in person. But I listened to like the original when they were workshopping it in Chicago to what it is now. What a process, and lots of changes happening. I mean, it's a mission. Okay.
Before you go on,
Go ahead.
I really, really, really love John Williams and all that he's done. So many great themes. I like Catch Me If You Can. And a lot of people haven't really considered that as one of his greatest musical works, but I thought it was. There's just a lot of emotion in it. And E.T., of course. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I got my little E.T. right back there. We love him. Danica, do you have a favorite John Williams? Because I was going to probably say E.T. also. I mean,
I did not remember that he is the one that did Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
So now of course that's all I can think about.
If you watch that scene where they're flying in the moonlight on the bike in E.T., there's a clip that I saw where they showed it without music and with music. And I mean, it's ripping your heart out when the music's on, and you're just kind of going ho hum when it's not. He did so, and I know we're going on a tangent here, but
that's okay.
Who was it? Spielberg. Spielberg worked a fair bit with him, and he trusts him so much that he just gives him, like, if he writes, there was one situation where he wrote a few extra bars and he was going to have to alter it. He goes, no, I'll change the picture. Because the music was so perfect, he didn't want to touch it. He just trusted John Williams so much.
Yeah.
And that's going to rip my heart out when he dies, because it's just, he was the great composer for me.
Well, hopefully he got quite a few years left. So
I hope so.
I'm sure he'll compose until the end. So, but great
Very
choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So would you rather be covered in tattoos like Vin Ethanol or be covered in tattoos or red markings like Drax?
Well, we should explain who Vin Ethanol is, because I bet most people won't know. That's a character I played, Ben 10. I would not like to be covered in tattoos at all.
Not for you.
But
it
if
can
I
be temporary.
I suppose it would be. I think Drax is a better character to have as someone you had to live than Ben Ethanol. Because if you had to live and only appear in about 4 episodes, you would have a pretty narrow life. Just kidding. But yeah, no, you more of a Drax had more going on.
Okay, fair. All right, good choice.
Yeah.
And Danica, I see this is going to be an interesting one for you to pronounce, but you can do it, and I'll help you. I'll try.
So, would you rather eat shawarma once a day, or I'm going to say that it's pashki once a day?
Remind me what pashki is?
It's almost like it's like
Polish donut holes.
Oh.
And both of these originated or are very popular in Windsor, so that's why we picked them.
Oh, that's why. That's interesting. Yeah, shawarma's nice.
Punchki. Yeah, pronounced punchki.
I would not have assumed that.
Yeah, Windsor is somewhere I grew up in, and I've been back a couple times, but I left there when I was 17 and haven't lived there since. Very different place now. It was really big in the car industry back then.
Oh.
Still is, but it really was quite thriving when I was there.
So are you going shawarma or donuts?
Yeah, shawarma.
I mean,
it's a good choice. I love shawarma. Okay. This one I can pronounce. Okay. Would you rather have a car that transforms when you're stuck in traffic, or would you rather have Lobo's space hog?
Practical, car that transforms in traffic, fly out of there. That'd be awesome.
That would be really nice. Especially, I'm sure, in LA, Miami. If I had a transforming car, oh my gosh, I'd be so popular. Ugh, I'm into it. Okay.
All right. Would you rather, this is nice, have a session right after having a mouthful of Novocaine or after eating the world's spiciest pepper?
I think probably Novocaine, because a lot of my characters are not super articulate on purpose, frankly. And the pepper, I would have like vocal problems. It would hurt my throat. So yeah, definitely Novocaine.
Okay, Novocaine it is. The other option we were going to put in there was a gallon of milk, but that's just not fun for anybody.
You know what though? Sometimes, I mean, I'm not even supposed to have dairy, but when I have a little dairy, if I have a lot of screaming, it's not about a bit of advice. I don't think have a little bit of dairy, and there's a bit of phlegm in there, and then you kind of coat your throat a little bit and not hurt yourself. It helps me.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Someone who is advocating for the use of dairy.
Right. It's a part
one's throat.
Only in the extremely screamy villains.
Okay. Well, the one time that I made a boo-boo, it was my first ever voice job. I was doing a voiceover for Discovery, like the Discovery Channel, and it was Discovery Kids. And they took us into like the break room. They're like, you can have whatever you want for a snack. And I, of course, like went right for the milk, which I wish they would have been like, bad choice, because I went back in there and it was not fun at all. I was like, what's happening? I didn't know. I was probably like 7 or 8.
The big thing for me to never ever have before a session are mixed nuts, like the really good ones that have like peels and stuff, because you get all sorts of random pieces of nut and the shell and whatever they have in there, and then all the salt, and I mean, it's kind of something you don't talk about on a show like this, but I'll talk about it a little bit. If you're eating nuts, no amount of water in your mouth is going to get rid of everything that you just ate. And inevitably, it's going to like go to the wrong place at the wrong time when you're trying to talk and breathe. So you don't want that in your mouth before.
So you don't have any characters that would benefit from some mixed nuts?
No, unless I want to be choking.
Your character's choking. Have some mixed nuts.
The character needs to stop breathing for a few minutes. This is the one for you.
Totally.
That's the snack for you.
Call up Mr. Peanut. Get him in here. Yeah. All right. This is the last one, David. Okay. Would you rather tell a dad joke after every time you sneeze, or do a soft shoe shuffle every time you yawn?
I think the dad joke, and I call them puns, but I know everybody now calls them dad jokes.
Puns are just fine. Yeah.
I love puns. Puns come up in the moment when you least expect them to arrive. They just kind of come out of your mouth, and then sometimes I forget them, but at least it's funny to me in the moment.
Yeah. Oh no, me too. I love a good pun. And do you know any offhand? I'm trying to think if I can think of a.
Well, I know a good one for 10-year-olds. What do the guys say when his left side amputated?
Huh?
I'm all right now.
Oh. I love that.
Can I tell a story about telling that pun on a radio show? I was 10 years old. They wanted to hear a joke. I called up my local CKWW radio station in Windsor, Ontario, and I told the joke on the air, and they gave me a prize. So I went down. I mean, this is 1974, so very different times, right? I go down to the station with my dad. I'm a little kid, I'm 10 years old, and for some reason, maybe it was like a radio station thing, they had women in very tight clothing that were looked like they were coming from Vegas performing, presenting these cleaning products to me.
You won cleaning products?
I won like it was rug shampoos.
Oh,
from a bunch of showgirls.
from showgirls. Weird experience when you're 10.
Just your typical
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure you went right home and washed the carpet. I'm sure that was a 10-year-old's dream. I'm trying to think.
It's weird, man.
Yeah. There are neighbors to the north, Danica. Never forget. Okay.
I have never told that story to anyone before on the air.
Well, thank you.
So honored.
Yes.
Boy, yeah, the fun stuff.
I'm trying to think.
Pull it out of me, kid. You pull it out of me.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of, before we go, I'm going to tell a pun. Okay, this is the first one that came to my mind. You've probably heard it. It's terrible. What is Super Mario's favorite fabric? Denim, denim, denim. That's the appropriate response.
Okay, I'll tell one more.
Okay.
You got to remember a few years ago, there was that movie called An Inconvenient Truth?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know that it almost got an NC-17 rating?
What?
Too much gore. You really have to know the movie to know what I'm talking about.
Because Al Gore was an Al Gore.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
But you know what?
And
I respect that because I think that one ranges for like 15 to 20, 25-year-old range rather than our other ones, which were 10, perfect for 10.
A long time. Danica. Well, that one though was my favorite joke of 2007. But that was a long time ago.
Still relevant. Danica, any puns you want to leave us with before?
The only one that always comes to mind is the one that would take me probably 20 minutes to tell because it's my dad's favorite story.
Yeah.
And it's effectively, I'll try to tell the abbreviated version, but
go ahead.
There's a guy walking in the woods. His name's Benny, and he comes across this genie in a lamp and rubs the lamp. He gets 3 wishes, and first wish is for all the money in the world, and he's super rich all of a sudden. And then he wishes for the most beautiful woman in the world to be his partner. Bam, she's his partner. And then, but then the genie's like, okay, but if before you make this last wish, you got to know that if you take this wish, you cannot shave for the rest of your life. It's like, okay, whatever, I'll do that. And so he takes the last wish, which is for world peace. And he's like, hooray. So, but he's like, the years are going by and he's got this ridiculous long beard and can't shave it because everything's going to go away if he does. After 50 years of living the most perfect dream life, it's like, I can't take it anymore, whatever. Shaves off. On the first stroke, he turns into a Grecian urn. And the moral of the story is, a Benny shaved is a Benny earned.
Yep, appropriate response.
Punny. Golf clap.
Thanks, Dad.
Appreciate it. Well, on that note, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. This has been such a joy. You are so wonderful.
Thank you.
Any final thoughts you want to leave us with here today?
Well, if anyone wants to find me, they can only find me on Twitter because I've been kicked off of all my social media by hackers, and Facebook won't let me back. So I am just going to stay on Twitter and maybe TikTok, because the fun thing I can start doing on TikTok is maybe talking to people with these things, I think.
As you should.
Main man! That'd be fun on TikTok.
I really, really, really think you should. I think it would be super popular and really fun. And it's always good to see, the voices behind the characters.
That's how I do my cameo. In my cameo, hopefully I'm not running over time.
No, you're fine.
You're good.
I'll tell my cameos, right? I'll take a Kleenex box and stick the thing in there and just kind of go like, hey, it's the main man. I won't put my face on it at all.
I did watch some of your cameos, so we'll plug your cameos as well. So make sure to check him out on Cameo, soon to be TikTok, most importantly Twitter, and you also have a website, which is
SOBELOV.com.
Convenient.
If you want to reach me for any sort of voice lessons, private, or maybe a demo, that's the place to reach me as well. And hopefully someday soon you'll be seeing Captain Fingers out there somewhere.
Well, yes, we are very excited for Captain Fingers. I just love the name alone.
I know.
So you had me at Captain Fingers.
All right.
Before we do let you go, we want to go over our upcoming guests that we have coming up in May, which is like a couple of days away. Oh my gosh, how is this happening? So on Tuesday, we are welcoming Felix Cavallari from The Young Rascals. Next Thursday, we have Jason Marsden from Goofy Movie.
Yay, Jason.
I'm so excited. We also have Megan Lindsay coming up. John Kassir from Tales from the Crypt will be joining us. Constantine Rulis from American Idol. We have wrestlers, ghost hunters, everyone in between. We are so excited. David, we'll have to do this again because I think we got through maybe like 3 of your roles that you played.
Yeah.
And there's
I think we could talk for 3 hours and not be done. Just with stop, because you're so good at bantering, you guys.
Thank you. Well, we can banter all day. So until the next one, David, thank you so much again. And we will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful rest of your week, everybody. Au revoir. Goodbye.
Au revoir. Bye.
Au revoir.